What is up, people? What is up, people? This is Abraham Walker. We have another live stream tonight. I think you're going to enjoy this conversation. I actually came across today's topic from Reddit, which is a great source for information if you are moving to the Northern Virginia area, or if you just want to stay up to date on what's going on in Northern Virginia. There is a subreddit or main Reddit. I'm new to Reddit, so I'm not sure what people call these things. But if you go to Reddit and you just search for um, Nova, you will find the um, the Reddit for Northern Virginia. And what I'll do is just show you what that looks like. Okay, so yeah, so this is what the Reddit for Northern Virginia looks like. A lot of good information. They post a lot of stuff about license plates. Um, but that is not what you're here for. But I did want to let you know about that resource. Okay, so tonight's conversation is a question that came up about whether or not $250,000 was enough to buy a home in Northern Virginia. Now, this particular person on Reddit was more interested in the Ashburn Loudoun area, but we're going to read or go over their comment now, and then we'll kind of jump into the conversation. So this person is, well, let me just read it. Hello, everyone. We are Canadian citizens, a family of four, two kids under five, and I'm being offered by my current employer a new role in their office in Reston with a total salary of $145,000. It will be a hybrid role, so going to office every day is not a requirement. My partner will need to find a new job that will probably earn less. So gross household income around $250,000. My questions are: one, is that enough income to buy a single family house? The house seems to be above 1 million in areas like Ashburn, and with the current interest rates, it seems a lot of money. Any good areas with schools and good suburban life for kids? Are any good schools, parks, daycares, etc.? We'd like to rent short term and ideally buy in the same area shortly thereafter. Three, we will need two cars. I heard there's a car tax in Virginia. Is it stupid to keep two cars? Then cars would likely to be paid off. So great question. And we're going to get into it. So if you have any questions that you want us to answer on this show, you can just text them to 703-539-2053. All right. So the first thing you want to think about with questions like this is what can you afford on a on whatever your budget is, right? So this particular individual, their budget is $250,000. And so there are calculators that will help give you an idea what you can afford. And so I just used a affordability calculator. That's what it's called. If you're looking to Google it, let me just show you what the screen here. So this is on calculator.net. And the term is called House Affordability Calculator. So most of these calculators will allow you to put in the annual household income, your mortgage loan terms, that's the number of years or longer it's going to take place, the interest rate, your monthly debt payback. So this is how much you owe per month, your down payment amount. Down payment is an interesting or tricky um, calculation here because if your down payment drops below 20% and you're not using a VA loan, then you will have mortgage insurance premium that some of these calculators do a good job of calculating, others do not. This is something that you really should talk to a lender if you're getting past if you get into the serious stage, right? So make sure we have a list of local lenders that you could reach out to. So you could just also text us as well. And then you most of the calculators are also actually for the property tax amount because that's going to cover your housing expenses, your HOA. Now, some lenders do not include the HOA in some of these calculations, so this is going to be a more conservative estimate. And then your insurance, which is going to be your homeowner's insurance if you're in a flood zone, flood insurance as well. Last thing is how are they calculating the ratios? And this is like your debt to income ratios, right? Okay, so with that being said, let's jump to the numbers for this particular person, right? So they say they're going to have an annual income of $250,000. Let's assume that the mortgage interest rate is going to be 7%. I put no debt right here because I don't know this person's situation. I also put 20% down. Most people in these higher price points are putting close to 20% down. So this is not far fetched in this area. The HOA dues, so because of where they're looking at, which is in Ashburn, the average HOA dues, monthly dues in Ashburn are, let me just get that number, is what, 157 per month, right? So 157 per month. That's going to be $1,884 per year. Let me just, oh, there we go. Yeah, so that also goes into your calculation, and then 0.5% for your homeowner's insurance and flood insurance if you need it, right? So what does that lead up to? $863,000 is going to be the loan amount you can expect to pay at that price point, right? So at that income, right? So you'll be borrowing $690,000, and you'll be coming to the closing table, or when it's time for you to purchase the property, you'll be coming to the table with $198 and six hundred $198 $1,000, right? Now, this amount does not, okay, I repeat, this does not include inspections, right? And your deposit, right? Your earnest money deposit at the beginning of the transaction. Now, your deposit will be applied to this one-time payment. Uh, so just keep that in mind that there is a lump sum of money you will need to have when you put a contract on a property. Now, when you're looking at these debt to income ratios, there is a front end ratio and a back end ratio. Pause the screen or come back to this live stream and read the slide here. This information, while it's normal, some lenders will offer um, you the opportunity to go into deeper debt despite your income. Okay, so just keep that in mind that these ratios are flexible based on the lender. Um, some lenders can approve you for more money. Okay, um, which means you'll have less. Um, Less in your personal budget. I don't know what I was spelling right here. Um, and so just text us if you want a list of local lenders. Okay, so second, what can you get now, right? So the budget here is what? It is $864,000, right? So let's assume that this individual is going to be searching for homes between 850 and $900,000, right? Give or take, right? So right now, if we look in the MLS right now in Ashburn, which is their target location, there are only 4 properties, 5 properties here, but really, oh, I'm sorry, 6 properties here, but really one of these properties is an age-restricted community. Um, So depending on it's a 55 plus community, so you may or may not qualify to be in that particular area. And so I just want to show you what these properties look like. Right, we have townhouse here. We have one single family home at 875. This is going to be another, I believe this is another townhouse here as well. Another single family home, and then we have more townhouses. So um, you're looking at like a 50-50 chance of getting a single family home in this 850 to $900,000 price point in the Ashburn area. If your price increase, then you will be, of course, able to pursue more single family homes or even larger townhouses. Now, let's let's answer the questions, right? So the first question they had was, let's see, let's just make sure. Okay, the first question he has is this enough money to buy a single family house? The house seems to be above $1 million in areas like Ashburn, and with the current interest rate, it seems like a lot of money. So yes, you will be able to buy a single family home. It depends on the age and condition of the property. Um, and like I mentioned already, some lenders may approve you for a larger loan amount. Okay, so the next question that they had was any good reasons with any good areas with schools and good suburban life for kids? Are any good schools, parks, daycare centers? We'd like to, so it's a two-part question. So we'd like to rent short term and ideally buy in the same area shortly thereafter. Okay, so with Northern Virginia, we get this question a lot. Um, are there good schools or good areas? Northern Virginia is pretty homogenous as far as what are the offerings in the area. Um, we have a low crime rate throughout the region. Um, because of the cost of living here, people who live in this area are more focused on school ratings and also school performance. So it's much easier for you to have a good school experience for your kids. One thing to keep in mind, your kid is going to graduate from a high school that is going to prepare them for college. So one of the things I like to remind people who are looking at our school ratings is that in an area that is very similar to everything else, there has to be a way to distinguish between the different schools. And our ratings are the same ratings that are used throughout the rest of the country. But in this area, a lot of our schools perform very well. Because of that, you are you're looking at ratings a little bit differently here, right? Um, rather than look at ratings, ask yourself, what's the purpose of school? Most parents, the purpose of school is A, that the kids are safe, B, that their kids are going to get a good quality education, C, that their kids are going to be prepared for college. Well, before the college part, I would say that the kids could have a good social life, right? So that the schools have after school clubs, they have sports. There's just like this overall school experience that I think a lot of Americans go for. And then lastly, the whether or not the school, particularly the high school, is going to prepare the kid for college. And if you look at our college readiness scores across high schools in Northern Virginia, most of them have great scores. So that means that your little one is in good hands in Northern Virginia. Okay, so that's the first thing. Now, as far as good areas, because Northern Virginia has a low crime rate, steady housing prices increasing, right? Because that's important for individuals who are concerned about making investments into the housing market and whether or not their investment is going to be protected We have years of data showing that prices in Northern Virginia continue to increase. We also are in an area that is resistant to market fluctuation. So in any event that the housing market does go through a bubble, the bubble does not hit Northern Virginia as hard because we are insulated because of the federal government. We're insulated because of the military bases that are in the area. We're also insulated because we have several Fortune 500 company headquarters and large companies in general with locations in this market. The next thing I want to talk about is the area from the perspective of this is a suburb. So Northern Virginia is a giant suburb. Ashburn, even more so. Um, Northern Virginia has done a great job of positioning or locating like these little town centers or hubs around all of the communities. So whether you are located in any suburb, there's going to be a grocery store, dry cleaners, a couple restaurants, several parks around you. So you will have access to these things to complete your weekend errands, to also have some level of social life, right? It's not a city, but you will be able to have some level of social life. And in the denser populated areas, you're going to find shopping centers, you're going to find mini golf facilities, driving ranges, there's golf courses all around. So that is a huge bonus to living in Northern Virginia. And I think a lot of that is tied to the fact that Northern Virginia has households have higher incomes relative to the rest of the country. So a lot of businesses feel very comfortable investing in this area. I do agree with the strategy that this individual suggested, which is that they're going to rent before they buy, and they're going to try to rent in the area that they're targeting. I think a lot of people um, miss this opportunity to rent somewhere and kind of almost test out the location so that you can start meeting the people who live there, start talking to them about why they like this location, what is turning them off about it, and then you can make a sound decision. Now, I will say, there are 2 other options here that I try to promote to people, right? So there is the first option, which is, live, like as research, right? Now, the second option is actually to live near your work, right? Now, hear me out. If you live near work, you have a short commute. You'll also get a sense of whether or not you even want to commute, right? Because I think a lot of people here, they jump straight into a 30, 45 hour-long commute. They've never even lived close to work. And close to work in Northern Virginia doesn't mean like you have, towers all around you and stuff like that. It just means that it's a little bit more densely populated. You have access to more amenities. You probably have access to the metro stations. You can probably get to the city a little bit quicker. So I would definitely recommend that you look at option number two, which is also live where you work. And then the third option is going to be live somewhere fun, right? So we had a client, what it was, excuse me, like two years ago, they were relocating to the area. Or you know what? They actually they lived here previously and they were coming back, but they realized they weren't gonna be able to afford to live or afford to buy during their time here, right? So they were only gonna be here like 2 or 3 years. And so they were like, "Abraham, help us find a rental." And I said to them, "You know what? Why don't you all rent somewhere that you would never be able to afford," right? Now, the rental will be a little bit smaller, but you could treat it almost like a vacation, or like a study abroad type of thing, right? It's just like a adventure for you and your family to live, like, in the city. So that's another option that you have to get, like, a side of the area that you wouldn't normally experience. Now, your goal is still to move in, a certain time period, so you can do that. But you have options when you're thinking about renting. Yes, you can rent where you live or where you want to live. You can do some research. Also consider living near where you're working, and then also living somewhere for fun. The last thing I wanna talk about here is a lot of people move to Northern Virginia or they relocate to Northern Virginia, and they ask us to find them a short-term rental. I understand the question or the request because Northern Virginia is a large metropolitan area. But Northern Virginia is really the suburb of Washington, DC. So in Washington, DC, you could easily find a short-term rental because there's a lot of people moving in and out of the DC area. But when you come to Northern Virginia, we have condos for the most part represent only 25% of our inventory. Townhouses only represent 25% of our inventory. Most of the homes are single family homes. People who can afford single family homes aren't positioning them are making them available for short-term rentals. So we don't really have that many short-term rentals. What I suggest is that you look for a traditional rental, but the rental contract should state what your penalty is for breaking it. So we have a client right now who is looking they're actually purchasing in the Herndon area. And so they are renting at, an apartment complex in Alexandria that has an option for them to exit out of their rental agreement whenever they find a home. We have another client who's moving here from Houston, who they're going to be renting in the Alexandria area, or another Alexandria rental. Um, and the apartment complex that they're moving to charges them a penalty or a fee to break their lease early. Sometimes that fee is 1 month's rent, sometimes it's 2 months' rent. Whatever it is, I would recommend that you look for a rental that allows you to pay a fee to exit the rental, okay? Now, the last question they had was, "We will need 2 cars. I heard there is a car tax in Virginia. Is it stupid to keep 2 cars then? Cars would likely be paid off." Okay, so with the car tax, or it's not really a car tax, it's really called a personal property tax, and this personal property tax is based on the value of your vehicle and not the amount you owe, okay? So, how much you own the property, I mean, own your car doesn't factor in here. The car tax is $4.23 per $100, and that's as of, 2024, so depending on whenever you watch this. So that's as of 2024. Unless you have a luxury vehicle, the car tax isn't gonna be that significant. I mean, you're already looking for you already have $250,000 in, gross income that you're bringing to the table. I don't think it's gonna be that big of a hit for you, and also, if you're already about to pay off your cars, I'd imagine your cars are a little bit older, so that's gonna factor into the equation. But the car tax I mean, not the car I keep on saying car tax. The personal property tax is based on the value of your vehicle, okay? Alright, so in closing, you're lucky to be moving to Northern Virginia. We've been living here for 10 years. We absolutely love it. When we moved here, my oldest son was 5 years old, and he was just starting kindergarten. And my youngest son was 3 years old, and now both the boys are 13 and 15. I call them the fellas, and we've been living in the Kingstown neighborhood all that time. My boys were able to walk to elementary school, and now they're walking to secondary school. They have friends that they've known their entire childhood. They go out to play at the parks down the street from our house. We live down the street from grocery it's like, what, 4 grocery stores, there's restaurants all around us, we have Wegmans in the neighborhood, several gyms, 20-minute walk to the metro station or a 5-minute drive, 7-minute drive to the, mall. We're a 5-minute drive away from the nearest theater. So, I think that you're going to love Northern Virginia. Ashburn also has a lot going on. I mean, it's one of the, it's an impressive place. There's new schools. The school ratings out there are phenomenal. Um, their library system, if you're not into the libraries here are an amazing, amazing, value add. So, I think you're gonna love living in Northern Virginia when you get here. Yes, the prices are higher than other parts of America, even the world, but you get something for your money, okay? So you do get something for your money. Being able to put your kid into a school that you know will prepare them for college, I think is money well spent. It's money well spent. Also, being in an area that has some of the lowest crime rates compared to its other places' population is also another value add. Lastly, because you're moving to Northern Virginia and maybe the type of work you're doing, there are other opportunities in the event that you need to switch careers, you're not kinda stuck at a glass ceiling. You could pursue, um, you could pursue other opportunities there. So that's it. So, if you have any questions, um, post them down below in the comments section. Um, my goal is to trying to work on doing more of these live streams. Um, we do some polished videos on our channel, but I gotta be honest with you, I don't like the polished videos. I just like to talk. I just wanna kinda get some talking points, talk directly to you, field any questions that you may have. Sometimes we have questions, sometimes we don't, but then just knock this out. Just knock this out. If you like the show, I've talked to my wife, and she said that my wife is my business partner. And so she said that um, probably around 9 o'clock Monday through Thursday would be a good time to do the show. So what I'm thinking is Monday through Thursday, do the live stream show, kind of talk about questions that you all have, what's going on in the market, news around the Northern Virginia area, what's new to the area, and just kind of get on a better uh, routine or schedule as far as that's concerned. Um, if you all, I'm gonna stay on for like another 5 minutes or so. Wait for any questions. If there aren't any questions, then I will see you all on. What's today? Okay, so today's Thursday. So I will be back on tonight because right now it's 12:30 a.m. I'll be back on tonight. So what did y'all think about today's show? Any questions? Any thoughts? What about the format? We're going to be continuing to kind of work on this format. Mm, mm. I think tomorrow's show is going to be about crime in Northern Virginia. There's some good crime stats that have been recently released, and I think it'll be a great conversation for us. Mm, mm, mm. Okay, so 2 minutes have passed. We got 3 more minutes. I'll stay on for 3 more minutes. While I have you here, what do you think of these glasses? These glasses are by Sees, Sees. They got the little orange legs on them, green in the front. These are actually wood frames. I don't know how I can show you the wood. Let's see here. Let's see. I can't show it. There we go. See it? It's like layers of wood. That's pretty cool. Pretty cool stuff. We got them. I got them in New York City this past summer. All right. All right. One more minute, then I'll say good night. Mhm. Hmm. Okay, thank you so much for watching. I will see you on the next video. Peace.